Well, do you have a green thumb or a brown thumb? I don't know. I'd like to think I have a green thumb, but I also choose to plant things that grow really easy. So we find our Bary Roy this morning in Eltopia West greenhouse, and he's going to tell us and give us some tips on how to be successful in the garden this summer. Good morning, Bary.
Good morning, Jade. As you can see, we've got some potting soil here. That's what we're talking about this morning. As for me, I got definitely a brown thumb. I don't know if I can't ever keep anything alive, but Jake Judge joins me this morning. Appreciate you getting up so early with us this morning to kind of talk about gardening. We're getting into that type of season now where people are going to get out into the gardens. Talk to us about potting soil, because not all potting soils are created equal.
Oh no, like the potting soil that I got here, we've developed for the greenhouse mix. It drains well. It doesn't retain the water as much, so that it gets the plants a good start. It's a mixture of bark, composted steer manure, and peat moss, and then it's got pumice in it for the drainage to help so it doesn't pack in, and so that the water can drain through it. And
so somebody's at home, let's say, and they want to start and they need to get potting soil. What's your recommendation to them on the correct type of potting soil to get? Because of course it all starts with a proper base.
Yes, well, it depends on if they're putting it in a pot or container, or if they're going to be growing it in the ground, in the soil or the dirt, that they want to mix them in with the soil. That'll help the plant to get, if they've got a clay or sand, and putting the peat moss in will help retain some more water, so you're not in the water so much. Compost is another good thing that they could put in with their ground, and work it in really good, and that gives a plant a good start, and it keeps the nutrients. It adds nutrients to it too. There's several varieties of potting soil that you can get, from inexpensive to better quality, and all that's available at your garden centers and stuff.
And one of the things that you do, of course, you have the potting soil, but you also got to know how to plant.
Yep.
We're going to do that in the next 30 minutes. We're going to plant some tomato plants, and they'll show us the correct way to do that. We'll send it back to you, Jade, in studio.
Good morning, Bary.
Good morning, Jade. Yes, I'm joined by Jake again this morning, and we've got our little friend here as well. We're talking about tomatoes and tomato plants, and these are the ones that you said people will mainly be purchasing from.
Yes.
So let's kind of show people. I'll give you one too, but it's basically kind of, do we take these leaves off?
Yeah, take the lower leaves off of them when you plant them. And you want to plant them a little deeper. That'll give you a better plant, better root structure. Okay. You kind of loosen them up a little bit.
So then you kind of go into here.
Yep, put your soil in with them.
Okay. And then there's 5 tips that you have for gardening, for people, if they're going to be starting, a garden. And talk to us about those 5 tips.
Well, first you need to prepare your ground. Know what the weather's doing. Know your plant habits and what the plants are going to like and where they're going to go. Grouping of your plants would be, knowing plants that love the water, plants that don't like a lot of water, plants that need more space. You kind of get an idea where you're going with that.
Sure.
And then plant them, water them, and have fun.
And let's get back to plant. Now, is there a foolproof way to plant? I mean, I know I've planted things and they haven't, gotten root. What's the biggest mistake people make? Whether they're planting tomato plants, which you say is pretty foolproof, or just planting in general, what are some of the biggest mistakes that they'll make?
Well, sometimes, if the plant isn't, if it's gotten wilted, or if it's gotten, it's struggling when it goes along, or they're real root bound, sometimes they won't get a good start. Just in being careful pulling them out of the tray, out of the plug, out of the pony packs, squeezing it a little bit so it'll pop out easier. That helps so you're not ripping the roots. Sometimes plants aren't rooted as heavy as other plants, and so, being careful with them that way.
Well, as you can see, we've got some of these all ready to go and planted. We're going to do some more planting, but Jason, we'll send it back to you. We are getting our tomatoes moving in the right direction this morning. So we'll send it back to you guys. Jake, we appreciate you being on the show today.
All right, no problem.